per the National Manufacturing Policy, the government wants that the contribution of manufacturing industry to the GDP increases from 15% to 25%. Now friends, how would this benefit our country? First, manufacturing will trigger a lot of job opportunities. India being a young population, we see that is the advantage of India. However, friends, that is one of our challenges also, because as a young population, the young generation has a lot of aspirations. How do you fulfill the aspiration of a young population, a young generation? This can only be fulfilled if you can provide jobs, relevant jobs to the younger generation. And with the focus on the manufacturing policy, it will help to create almost 10 million new jobs every year. For that we need skilled manpower. So skilling is an important part of this manufacturing policy. If we see the period, in fact, the present manufacturing policy was perhaps 3 years ago started, or the first impetus was given by the earlier government. However, in this 3 years period, unfortunately, instead of increase in manufacturing to the GDP, manufacturing has shrunk slightly from 15% to the 14%. Our friends from industry who are present here would know that as a country, the last 2 years have been pretty difficult for the industry. We were moving at a very healthy GDP of about almost 6%, 7%, which came down to almost about 4.5%, 3.5% to 4%. Luckily, the last quarter has been good for the industry, and we are hoping that this present 15-16 financial year, the GDP would touch around 6.5% to 7%.
What business banking comprises of? It is companies having a turnover up to 300 crores fall within our catchment area. Now, we are at the same time, just to give you a brief about HSBC. HSBC is the world's largest trade bank and second largest in terms of assets. We have more than 6,600 offices across the world, present in more than 80 countries. And as I said, that we are the largest trade bank. So we would be covering this topic on trade as well as foreign exchange. We have Sameer Jain, who heads the trade for North and East, who will be taking us through the trade piece, as well as Rahul Babur from Treasury, who will be covering foreign exchange. So both related to cross-border. So now I would like to invite Sameer Jain to come and start the presentation without taking much of your time.
Something that I can talk about from a personal experience is while we bank with a lot of customers across the country in different cities, we have seen a lot of capital expenditure happening in a lot of industrial corridors. So while I come from Delhi, on a regular basis we get requirements of capital expenditure and capital finance from industrial corridors and automotive sector in Mysore. Similarly, we have seen such kind of investments happening in Rajasthan. And on outskirts of Calcutta also, we have seen such kind of railway and other manufacturing activities where people are investing for a long-term project. So which, the individual, I feel that which gives a positive sense that people are optimistic about the programs the government are running today. And definitely it will give a boost to the manufacturing sector in this part of the country. As a bank, we do a lot of research on the countries who go export. As Leah said, that HSBC is primarily a trade bank. So we publish something called Trade Confidence Index, wherein we study different countries and we see that what is the growth opportunities in those respective countries, which are the areas and the products that a particular So last year when we did a trade confidence index on India, it rose from 126 basis point to 137 basis point. It basically, the analysts or respondents see that Europe is one of the most promising trading destinations for pushing Asia to the second position market for India to export, and China as the second largest market instead of US, which was very surprising for me because I always thought that we only import from China. But in one of the forums I was attending a few months back, I was surprised to hear that the net imports from China, the net exports to China is 70% of the imports that we do from China. So there's a lot of raw material that China imports from us. The challenge for this government is that how do we convert that raw material into manufactured goods and implement Make in India. Now, if you look at exports in short term in India, exports only